Hi there, my name's Cathi Barker, Software Solutions, and this is the first of a collection of videos on my Power Query course, my Excel Power Query course. Now, data resides in several different systems and different sorts of databases and different sorts of files, all different sorts of data repositories. And what we can use is the query engine that resides in Excel called Power Query to bring data in from all different types of systems and files into Excel. And Power Query not only allows us to load data in from different systems, but it allows us to transform that data, which means to clean that data, such as renaming columns and replacing values and even removing errors. And once we load that data into Excel from all these different types of systems and we clean and transform that data, we're in a much better position to then report that data in Excel in a variety of ways using features such as a pivot table. So the very first thing I want to look at is how do we get data from different data sources and import it into Excel using Power Query. The first type of file I want to look at is what they call a flat file. Now, a flat file is basically a table, a two-dimensional table, a tabular table, where every record is a row. There's no hierarchy or relationships, one to many or that sort of thing. It's just a flat tabular table. So this would include files such as CSV files, comma-separated values files, or even delimited files like text files, TXT files. But it also encapsulates or encompasses Excel files. Many Excel files are simply tables that we want to bring into Power Query. So let's start by first of all going to Data in the ribbon, and to the far left you'll see a button, Get Data. And it's here that you can see that you can bring data into Excel from a variety of systems, databases, and files. And I'm going to start with the option From File. Now, from File, I can choose a flat file such as a text file or a CSV file, and I can also choose a PDF, but I'm going to start with just an Excel workbook. So I click this option. Now, then I decide where is my file located. Is it on a local drive? Or is it on the cloud, like OneDrive for Business or a personal OneDrive folder? Or is it in SharePoint? So basically navigate your way to wherever that file is located. You can bring it in from a variety of sources. So I'm going to bring my 2021 sales Excel file in. So choose this file and then choose Import. Now, once the data is connected to, the Navigator window appears, and this is what we're seeing here. And the Navigator window basically shows you the data that is in the file that's available for importing. And I see the word sales mentioned here and sales 2021 mentioned here. And you can see a difference in the icon. Sales is basically a table, so the data has been formatted as a table, where sales 2021 is a reference to the sheet. And so in this particular case, either is valid. So I would like to actually bring in sales 2021. And I have the option to load it or transform it. Now, to load it is simply to bring it straight into Excel. And notice this button has a drop down as well, where you can load or load to. I'm just going to start with just acknowledging that button. But the other button we've got is transform. Now, transform not only loads it, but it fires up Power Query and puts you in a position where you can start transforming the data. So let's go with this option. Ultimately, you'll end up saying the Power Query editor, and you're seeing the data that has been loaded and it's available now for transforming. So if I want to get back to Excel, I head for this button, the Close and Load button. If I click the Close and Load button, I've actually gone into Excel and it's loaded the data into Excel, into a sheet called Sales 2021. It also shows me here I have a connection or a query, and it formats the data automatically as a table, and that is why I'm seeing the Table Design tab up here in the ribbon. Now, if I want to get back to Power Query, then I simply hit the Query tab here, and I simply go straight for the Edit button on the far left. and that will throw me back into the Power Query editor. So that is how you can load and transform data and go straight into Power Query. Close and load to return to Excel, and query and edit to return to the Power Query editor. Now I'm going to do a little bit of an exercise now. I'd like to select a new sheet, for example, sheet 1. Now I have to go back to Excel for that. Here's sheet 1 at the bottom of my screen. And I would like to bring in more data, another Excel file. So to bring in another Excel file, I simply go to Data in the ribbon, Get Data, From File, from Excel Workbook. And from here, I'm going to choose the Byte Customers, and I'm going to choose Import. I want to go immediately into Power Query and transform the data. So from the navigator, I'll choose the Customers sheet, and I'll simply click the Transform Data button. And that'll put me straight into Power Query Editor. Now from the Power Query Editor, I can also load data without having to go back, close and load and go back to Excel to load more data. If I want to load more data from inside of Power Query, I'm simply going to go to New Source. So I'll just go over here on the far right hand side, New Source. Then I'll go to say File, and from there you can just see, I'll move this window over a little bit, New Source, File, you can just see Excel Workbook. So I'm going to click this option. And I'd like to bring in the orders history and import. Then I'll click the orders option in the navigator. Let me just bring that into view. The orders sheet, and OK. Notice it's OK and it's not transform or load. That is because you're importing or getting the data from within Power Query, not within Excel, and OK. So that is bringing in Excel files. Either bring in the data via the Power Query editor using the New Source, File and Excel Workbook option, or if I close and load, I can actually bring the data in simply by going to Data in the ribbon and choosing the option Get Data from File, from Excel File. Now because I've loaded or imported three things, I've got the Sales 2021 sheet, I've got the orders sheet, and I've got the customers sheet. I'd like to now go back to the Power Query editor, so I'm just going to go to Query in my ribbon and Edit. Doesn't matter what sheet I'm sitting in.